Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Katie, and today we are going to announce the Spring Christian Fiction Readathon. This readathon happens the entire month of April. It used to be in May, then I changed it to April, I think starting last year. So it's going to be the entire month of April. Each year I do a different theme, I guess you could say. The first year it was just like spring related prompts. The year after that, I asked author friends I asked them what their favorite thing was about spring, and then I made prompts from that. Last year, I asked authors again for their favorite flower, and I made prompts based off the flowers. Well, this year is a little bit different because I think I'm getting back into my love of movies, or I want to get back into my love of movies since I've been reading so much the past year. So I am doing a spring movie themed readathon. So this is a Christian fiction readathon. I do two of them a year, one in April and one in October. So for this one, it is still spring related, and I created a prompt. I asked some author friends, and I also asked some booktuber friends for their ideas. So this one is called the Spring Into Movies. You can use that hashtag Spring Into Movies. And I asked authors and friends what movie came to mind with the word spring. And so I have 8 different prompts. You do not have to do all of them. If you do just one, you accomplished it. Yay, go you. I made cute little graphics, which I love these graphics because you can see the movies along with a blank graphic for all of your books that you can add on to Instagram. You can tag me, use the hashtag. We're going to have lots of fun. The first movie was the movie that I thought of immediately when I heard the word spring, and that is Singing in the Rain. It's one of my favorite movies. I love the music. It just screams spring, just the rainy season plus all of the music and the fun and the romance. It just screams spring to me. That was the first thing I came up with, so I decided to go ahead and do Singing in the Rain. And for that one, pick a book where a character sings or plays an instrument. So one of the first ones that came to mind was Everything is Just Beginning by Aaron Bartels. This is a phenomenal kind of contemporary story set in the 1970s about a man who is kind of pretty much destitute. He lives with his uncle who lives in the backyard of these like really wealthy people who have to do with the music industry. Well, his uncle receives an invitation for like a Christmas party, I think, or something. Might not be a Christmas party. Could be New Year's or something. But he decides to take the invitation and joins in the party. And he ends up befriending someone in the family who's part of that party. So it's a very, very sweet story. It's very little romance, and I just really enjoyed that one. So that's my favorite. I also loved The Lost Melody by Joanna Davidson Politano. That one is a huge part of it is music, and it's about a woman who finds out after her father passes that he's been paying money to an asylum. And she's wondering, who's at this asylum? So she goes undercover to find out and figure out who is staying at this asylum. And it's just so good. Oh, that book is amazing. So those are 2 suggestions for books that have to do with music. If you have any book recommendations, please feel free to put them in the comments for everybody else to check out. The next prompt is for my lovely author friend, Christy Ann Hunter. She mentioned like 3 movies, but the first one that came to mind for her was Bambi. That's obviously a great choice for the springtime. And for this one's super easy, just an animal on the cover. Super easy. A lot of books have animals on the cover, especially if they have to do with historical fiction, because there's usually like a cowboy on the cover, there's always horses. There's a lot of dogs on the cover of books, so I'm sure you'll be able to find something. I'm trying to see if I can really quickly find something that has an animal on the cover. Let's see. Okay, the one that I found right away is A Lady's Guide to Marbles and Misadventure by Angela Bell, and this has like a mechanical owl on the cover. I would consider a mechanical owl or any type of animal on the cover would count. So this one definitely does, and it was a very good book, especially if you like kind of that Mary Poppins type feel. I think you'll really enjoy this one. Between the Sound and Sea by Amanda Cox also has these kind of crane-looking creatures on the front. So another book that has animals on the cover. As I said, a lot of cowboy romances do, so I'm sure you'll be able to find something with an animal on the cover. Next prompt, I gotta remember who sent this to me. I believe, Tony Shiloh. Yes, Tony Shiloh. Her first movie that came to mind was Miss Congeniality, which is one of my family's favorites. My dad loves that movie too. But I love that movie. And it's full of romance and humor and great suspense, mystery. I thoroughly enjoy that movie. So for that one, we're going to choose a romantic suspense book. Pretty broad. You can choose anything in that genre. One of my favorite romantic suspense, well, I would say the first book is not romantic suspense, so I'm going to skip that one. But I love the Rock Harbor series by Colleen Coble. That's one of my favorite romantic suspense series of all time. So that one is definitely a very great option, especially if you've never tried Colleen Coble. That series is fantastic. I can't remember the first titles, but the picture's here so you guys can check it out. But that one is a phenomenal story. The Alaskan Cyber Hunter series by Kimberly Woodhouse is also a fantastic romantic suspense series. I love these. They're intense, high action, romance. I love these books. This is probably one of my other favorite series as well. I love this series by Kim. Super great. I love these as well. Next prompt, I have never seen this movie before, so I'm not exactly sure what it's even about. It's called Big Fish. This was the first one, and I asked author Sarah Monson, the author of An Overdue Match, what movie came to mind when I said the word spring. And so this movie came to mind, Big Fish. I think I have seen the cover like multiple times throughout my life, but I've never had the inkling to pick it up. I don't know if the poster wasn't my cup of tea, the title, I don't know, but I might be tempted to pick it up. I don't know. So she suggested Big Fish. And so really the only thing that came to mind was either something that had to do with fishing or a big book. So I'm not going to say like 500 plus. I know a lot of us don't read that much. So I'm going to just only do 400 plus because there are quite a few Christian fiction books that are 400 plus. This one is. I found one. I was like, this one has to be over 400. So Wistress by Nadine Brendes is over 400 pages. If you love fantasy and a very unique, like kind of fairy tale feeling book, this one is fantastic. You can tell by what I tabbed here. This is a phenomenal read, and this is definitely over 400 pages. So definitely, if you haven't read it, make sure to check it out. This is the second book, but I'm guessing book one's also over 400. This is the Gateway Trilogy by Crystal D. Grant. I only own book 1 and 2. I don't remember where book 1 is right now. It's probably over here somewhere on the shelf. But definitely this series by Crystal D. Grant is definitely over 400 pages. And I'm guessing the first one is as well. Next prompt is from my friend Susan L. Tuttle. And the first movie that came to her mind was You've Got Mail. And for this one, you have to read a epistolary novel, which is pretty much just a novel that is told in letters. So one of them is Dear Henry, Love Edith by Becca Kinzer. This one is about a man and woman who think the other one is an older person. And so they're kind of writing letters back and forth. She's a missionary supposed to go overseas, but for some reason, like her temporary living situation, I think got flooded or something. So her best friend says, hey, my uncle has a house and he can't go up the stairs. And so you can have the upstairs and he'll be living downstairs. And so the other one thinks that it's an older person because her name is Edith, which is really, it is more of an older fashioned name. So that's a very cute story. There's also, what's it called? Authentically Izzy by Pepper Basham. That one's told in letters. Very sweet romance. It's more emails and text messages, but any one of that series, I would also count the other two in the series as well because they all have either emails or text messages. So that would count as well. And I love both of them. So both of those are really great suggestions for epistolary novels. Next prompt was from my friend Lou over at Christian Faith and Fiction. And she suggested Easter Parade, which I don't think I've ever seen actually. I love Fred Astaire and Judy Garland's in it as well. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen that movie before. And I know I've heard of it. So Easter Parade is her suggestion. And for this one, the first thing that came to mind was big hats. Because every time the Easter Parade kind of came around, especially back in like, even nowadays, really sometimes, hats were a huge deal around Easter Parade, Easter time. So I want you to find a book cover with someone wearing, it doesn't have to be a big hat, just a hat in general. I'll even accept a cowboy hat, okay? So any hat on the cover, baseball cap, whatever. I'm probably going to read one that I can find like a bigger hat on the cover. Like there's one, like A Noble Masquerade by Christiana Hunter. That one, she's wearing a huge hat on the cover. A lot of Rosanna M. White's books have big hats on the cover. I would say historical fiction has a lot. Cowboy romances do as well. Some contemporary romances will. I think one of Tony Shiloh's actually has a big hat on the cover. I think it's, don't quote me, but I think it does. I believe A Run at Love by Tony Shiloh has a derby hat on the cover. So a derby hat, that's more of a contemporary romance, that would count as well. So any hat on the cover, but the first thing that came to mind was a big hat. And I just think that's like going to be so much fun. So the next prompt is for the movie The Secret Garden, and I did put the cover art for the original one, which is starring Margaret O'Brien, and I can't remember the boy's name. Yeah, it escapes me. But that's the one that I grew up with when I was younger. My dad loved that movie. So that's the one I just put on the cover. It doesn't matter what version or whatever. So for this one, I want flower in the title. Not on the cover, in the title. It can be the literal word flower in the title, or it could be a type of flower. So one is Mountain Laurel by Laurie Benton. This one is kind of set during slavery times in, I believe, either South Carolina or North Carolina, one of those, I'm not quite sure, but that one is a very emotional read, and I really did enjoy that one. I have to read the second book, which is Shiloh. I'm not exactly sure Shiloh is a flower. I'll look that up. If it is, I might choose that one if I haven't read it already by now. But that's an option because I know Mountain Laurel is a flower. I wouldn't even count Laurel's Dream by Pippa Bashan because Laurel is technically a flower, even though it's the girl's name. So that would count. The Rose and the Thistle by Laura France. That's another one that has a flower in the title. So anything with a flower in the actual title, not on the cover. So I just thought that was kind of an interesting one to try to find because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of roses out there. Even the word flower is probably in a lot of them, but I just thought that would be kind of an interesting one. And then the last one was suggested by, I think, Shannon Sue Dunlap, but let me double check if it was. Oh, I can't find. Yes, it was Shannon Sue Dunlap, recommended Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, which is one of my mom's favorite movies. And that dancing scene, wow, it's one of the best dancing scenes in movie history. So we're going to do that one. And for that one is a family story. So anything that's set around a family, it could be found family, it can be a real family, difference. It could be foster family, but anything that has to do with family, a generational story even, but anything that has to do with family. I know Rosanna M. White's newest series, all about the spy imposter series, The Imposters, that all has to be around family because the brother and the sisters are all part of the imposters spy ring. I guess you would say that, but that is a family story. Found family. I was gonna say Found Family, the Susan L. Tuttle's newest series that is kind of giving like a Charlie's Angel type of feel. I love the second book. Oh my goodness, it was so good. It was called The Novel Adventures of Natalie Daughtry, and that was phenomenal. And that has more of a found family feel, and I really, really like that. And it also kind of has to do with family because it has a married couple in it, and the married couple has older kids that are in college. So that also has kind of a family dynamic. So those are two options that are really, really good. They both have kind of similar aspects, but one's kind of more found family. One has a regular family system. But there are just so many good family stories out there that I think will be great options. And I think that is our last prompt, yes. So those are the 8 prompts. I will put the graphic down below in the description box so you can print or save to your phone. That way you can put it on Instagram, or you can print it and put it in your reading journal. I know I plan on doing that for next month. I have to remember to do that before I film my April reading journal. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Let me know if you're going to join in down in the comments. I love talking with you. And there is a bonus prompt. You don't have to do it. But if you would like to, go ahead and watch one of the movies suggested, even if it's a rewatch. I am not sure what I want to watch. I'm kind of thinking Miss Congeniality because it's been a while since I've watched that. Or I might try Big Fish because I have never heard of that before. So I might try that one. Or Easter Parade. All right, so I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.